There's no question the momentum in the 2024 race is with Vice President Harris right now, which may be why former President Trump decided on short notice to hold that long-winded event in Mar-a-Lago yesterday. But as the Harris Walls ticket wraps up their introductory swing state tour, Trump's team is downplaying the momentum shift. A top Trump advisor says the race is in a state of, quote, suspended reality, telling Politico the surge won't last. But a key election forecast might suggest otherwise. The Cook Political Report has changed 3 critical states from leaning Republican to toss-up: Arizona, Georgia, and Nevada. That's actually a reset to where those states were before President Biden's disastrous debate. Let's discuss with experts inside a couple of those key states: Atlanta Journal-Constitution political columnist Patricia Murphy, former political director for Stacey Abrams in Atlanta, Christopher Bruce, and former Arizona deputy director for the Biden 2020 campaign, Tony Cani. Tony, the Trump campaign is calling this Harris momentum suspended reality. What's your response to that? And what do Arizona voters want to hear from Vice President Harris today as that swing state tour continues?
Well, if anybody knows about suspended reality, it's got to be the Trump campaign, because they're just not accepting the facts here. The momentum is absolutely real. We're seeing a ton of enthusiasm here in Arizona and a lot of investment. They just launched a big, a big TV blitz to get Latino voters. We have this huge visit that's happening today. My phone has just been blowing up. I've been on the campaign in 4 years. People are trying to find a way to get tickets to this thing. And so it's real. It's still going to be tough. Democrats win in Arizona. You win by a small margin. We won by 10,000 votes last time. But I feel very good about where we are. And if I was on the Trump campaign, I'd be really nervous.
Yeah, we've seen the huge turnout for events earlier this week in states like Wisconsin. We know their event there in Arizona later today. The Harris Walls event is in several hours from now. So we'll keep an eye out on any images that suggest the enthusiasm on the ground. Meantime, Patricia, there in Georgia, you write about this political shift, this momentum, in a piece titled "How to Lose a State in 10 Days." And you say Trump missteps have really exacerbated this dynamic, including renewing his attacks on GOP Governor Brian Kemp there in Georgia. Well, Kemp just responded this morning. Watch this.
Despite all of that noise, my position has not changed. I've said a long time before, the presidential primary ever started, when we had all those great candidates that were running, that I was going to support the nominee, that we were going to use our political operation to win Georgia, despite past grievances, differences in a political opinion, maybe ideals, issues, whatever the case may be with any individual or the former president.
Patricia, will this dampen the impact of these Trump attacks against him, or is it still a gamble for Trump to go after Kemp?
It's a huge gamble for Donald Trump to go after Brian Kemp. Brian Kemp is the most popular governor, obviously, anywhere in the country. He's also the most popular Republican here in the state. He's the most popular elected official in the state. So to go after Governor Brian Kemp in your own party is strategically just incredibly not wise. It has really dampened a lot of the momentum of unity that Republicans had coming out of the RNC. And we're talking to Republicans who just are shaking their heads as they were watching those attacks on Governor Brian Kemp. They were texting reporters saying, "What in the world is he doing? This was ours. It's slipping away."
Christopher, a recent CBS YouGov poll shows that a couple of demographic shifts are taking place that might impact the race there in Georgia. Since Harris replaced Biden on the ticket, more black voters now say they will definitely vote in November. And 70% of women voters say Harris's policies will help women, while just 43% say the same about Trump's policies. When President Biden was the nominee, Democrats seemed to be focused more on swaying independents. Does this suggest the name of the game now is turning out the base?
Absolutely. The base is the key, but let's look at what has happened in Georgia since 2018. You've seen Georgia change into a toss-up state since then, and we all saw what happened in 2020 when President Joe Biden was elected. We also sent out Senator Ossoff and Senator Warnock to D.C. So these are the type of things that are happening. Georgia is not new to these type of races and being the focus of the nation. The base is there, and the base is expanding into other areas. They are opening up offices in Forsyth County and others. And meanwhile, Trump's opening up offices, and they are literally having fights with each other. So The state of Georgia is there. The Harris campaign is running at full steam ahead, and the momentum is not slowing down.
Tony, Trump said yesterday abortion is, quote, not a big factor anymore. Is that the case there in Arizona?
No, I mean, it was national news. It was huge news here for weeks when all of a sudden an 1864 civil, war era abortion ban was put back in place by our Supreme Court. And it was something everybody was talking about. And then, it took Democrats to get that through, where 90% of the Republican legislators in our state still voted to enforce that. It's top of mind. I've seen polling that shows that it's the #2 issue in the state now. It's not how it was before. I think it's going to make and this is not just for women voters. This is for voters in general in Arizona. He is wildly out of touch with our state when it comes to this, IVF, all reproductive rights. It's going to be a problem for them.
Patricia, what are the top issues motivating voters in Georgia right now?
I'd say the same issues that are motivating national voters: the economy, immigration, very important actually to members of both parties. Democrats are going to have to get their base out. Absolutely. There's also a group of about 200,000 swing voters who voted for both Governor Brian Kemp and Senator Raphael Warnock, Democrat, in 2022. That is the sliver of voters that both campaigns know they need to go after. They'll get their bases, they'll get them out. They've got to have those independent voters as well. The economy and immigration are the keys to that piece.
And Christopher, what specific challenges or opportunities do you see in your state that you don't want the Harris campaign to overlook?
We cannot overlook that the former Lieutenant Governor Duncan, has endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris. Republicans have been coming out towards the Harris campaign because they know exactly what's happening and what's at stake. So the opportunities are there to not only win Georgia, but win Georgia in a fashion that will reverberate for years to come. So this is a time that the Harris campaign is focused, and they're still expanding their own base.
Well, Patricia Murphy, Christopher Bruce, and Tony Cani, thank you all for giving us a deeper sense of what's happening on the ground there in your states, key states. So we'll check back as we get closer to the election.